Good afternoon, this is Jack from the AskChart.net, and this is the intraday video for Monday the 5th of March. Our disclaimer: we do this for educational purposes only. We're here to share our technical analysis with you. We hope you can take some of what we're doing and learn from it, transfer it to your own charts. We're not here to issue trading signals. Right, let's go through the indices first, and actually I'm going to start with the RTH charts. Now, obviously, we are on a potential trend day here. It's not a definite trend day, but it is very much a potential trend day. Looking through all the buy signals we had last night, we've made the ones on futures. SPX, we had a 60-minute RSI 5 buy signal. That's made target. We've got an IHS target, which, looking at this is an IHS, that is a triangle here, and actually on the smaller triangle we saw a breakout and a back test, and this is the triangle thrust up. This should be a termination thrust, i.e. we should finish the move, and then it should reverse at least the triangle thrust, but really what we should be doing is heading straight back to Friday's lows. Am I thinking about shorting in this area? Not yet, but I'm not that far away. I need a bit more confirmation that we're not going to trend up until the end of the day, because I really hate fighting trend days. But in terms of the IHS target, here I've got one at 27.25. I've also got a double bottom target at 27.25. We've come pretty close to that. Is that close enough? Maybe. Is there any strong sign we're reversing? Not really yet. No. Now, NDX, we've got... we had an RSI 5 buy signal. That's made target. On the 15-minute chart, this is another IHS. I'm not so sure about the support trend line, because often that will come off the right shoulder and it hasn't had time yet. But we made the target. We're showing a little bit of negative divergence. What we haven't yet made is the IHS target, and that IHS target is in the 69.25 area, and we may need to make that. Moving over to RUT. RUT, we actually had two buy signals on the alley. We had the RSI 5, which is made target. We had the RSI 14. Now, I have mentioned in the past that these are more suspect when you get both of these fixed at the same time. You quite often see a reversal, quite a deep reversal, although you usually come back afterwards. Quite a deep reversal when you make the RSI 5 buy signal target. And we've made that already. But what I would say is, hang on, I'm just checking no one's got their microphone on. Ah, Greg Drake has. All right, it's off now. Okay, so what we're looking at here on RUT is we've got a double bottom target we haven't quite made, although it's an asymmetric double bottom. We've made the first target, we just haven't made the second. We could go higher. I haven't got any negative divergence here on the 60-minute, but I've got some on the 15-minute maybe. I've got a possible rising wedge here, which I'm going to be watching carefully. We haven't made the support trend line yet, and so I don't have confirmation of the upper trend line. I'll be happier about this being a rising wedge when I've got confirmation with another test of the wedge support trend line. All right. Rolling over to the futures, we've made the 60-minute buy signal on ES. We've almost made, very, very close, the double bottom target. And actually here again it's an asymmetric double bottom, and we have made the first target, we haven't made the second. This could fail any time depending on what happens. It may be that we're going to need to see a retracement and a retest to set up negative divergence, and if so, we haven't seen that yet. Now, I've got this as an asymmetric double bottom on NDX, but I think actually I'm sorry, on NQ, but I'm rather more inclined to take the target on NDX. So here I've got a possible target in the 69 30 area. I'm a bit doubtful about it making that. But we shall see. If we're trending up, then of course all things possible. TF. Right. TF has made the 60-minute buy signal target. I've got a possible double bottom resistance here. It's asymmetric again. We're reaching the first target at the moment. The second one would be in about the 1558 area. There's nothing really much left in the way of buy signals. We could reverse here. There's a question in my mind as to whether we would. If we go over to DX, DX is important for GC and HG. Now, here on in the morning video, I was talking about a possible fail, a weekly pivot, and we have a possible fail at weekly pivot. It needs to break and convert the monthly pivot now. It hasn't done that yet, but if that's the case, we may be heading straight back to the lows. And that's supported by it. We have got a 60-minute buy signal. I did say this morning it wasn't a terribly strong one. If we look at EURUSD, then we've got a possible IHS here. here, that hasn't broken up yet, but if it breaks and converts the neckline, then that's going straight back to the highs, and DX at the same time would be likely to head back to the lows. CL, now here, had a nice double bottom target in the 63 area, and that has not been tested yet. But stands two targets for 62 and 62.76, and we've made the 62.76. This could be close enough. We've made the 60-minute buy signal target, but I'm not seeing any negative divergence yet above the 1-minute buy sell signal and the 5-minute sell signal that I was talking about earlier on the Twitter feed, where we haven't quite made the 1-minute target yet, and I suspect strongly we haven't made the 5-minute target yet, but let's just check that. Hang on. Nope, not even close. So we may well be doing a significant retracement here. If we do that, then obviously we could test support of the weekly pivot and monthly pivot and then head back up to retest the highs. That's if we make it down that far. Again, it's been quite trendy, and it's been this has been quite closely linked with ES so far, so it may be that we've got some more upside to do. I've got a marker short on at 62.70, and that's in case it turns and doesn't come back. If it does come back, then I'll be planning to add to that. Right, NG. NG, still testing monthly pivot, weekly pivot, been pretty much welded to it really. Not really seeing anything clear on direction. Stan likes the upside here. I'm pretty neutral. GC. GC, if DX is going to fail here, then GC is going to find some support fairly soon. The 50 back would be about 13.15, 13.16 area, and we've got some established support there, so maybe we would hold it there. This could be a head and shoulders forming. If so, we'd be about to see a reversal back up to the 13.26 area. We've broken up from the falling channel. I am looking for a reversal pattern here. I'm not really seeing one yet. Possibly we could see a cup with handle 50 back and move would be that pattern. A retest of the low would be more frequent, but if DX isn't going to cooperate, then we're not going to see it. 60-minute DX needs to go up to deliver that. It's not been doing much of that so far. We've got a 60-minute sell signal fixed on here, and that hasn't quite reached the possible near miss target, so we'll see. ZB. ZB, I've got a head and shoulders here, and I was talking about it this morning, and we've broken down. We've also broken down through possible flag channel support. The obvious read is we are going to go back to retest the low. The head and shoulder target doesn't quite get us there. That gets us to about the 141.23 area, I think. Full retest of the low would be at 141.14. Okay, HG. HG, this is suggesting to me that HG doesn't think that DX is going to go any higher, because we've got a beautiful double bottom here, marginal lower low, ticks all the boxes, on a 60-minute buy signal, on a break up over, breaking conversion of 3.15, and then that takes us into monthly pivot, weekly pivot. Breaking conversion of all of those levels takes us to about the 320 area. KC. KC, broken down. The obvious next target at this stage, I think, unless we see a breaking conversion of the weekly pivot, monthly pivot resistance, is a retest of this low. I think Stan's leaning towards that continuing lower after that. I haven't got any strong feelings on the subject personally. SB. SB broke down from a rising wedge. This looks like a flag forming. This low may well need a retest, but at the moment I would note that it's holding the weekly pivot and the monthly pivot as support. If that continues to be the case, then we're going up. CC. CC is holding this more or less the last short-term resistance trend line, but it's holding it pretty well. It's a nice trend line. We've got no current divergence. We did have a possible 60-minute sell signal brewing this morning, and that has we lost that divergence, so that's no longer brewing. I'm hesitant about shorting this, but this is definitely a possible resistance level, and it's holding so far. We shall see. ZW. Now, ZW's got an important test today, and when it shows this chart, that's the test of the weekly pivot. A break below opens a possible test of the monthly pivot. I'm slightly skeptical of the downside here. We've reached the possible near miss target on the 60-minute sell signal. I think there's definite upside risk here, and so far we've held weekly pivot like a champ. I'm not really, I don't have anything strong suggesting further downside here. I do have some on the bigger picture, but I mean, I'm assuming nothing on ZW. GBP USD. We've had a nice rally. We've made the 60-minute buy signal target. Could need even if we're going up, we could need a retest of the low at this stage. I've got rising support approximately in the 1.379 area, 85 maybe. EURUSD, obviously we've got the nice looking inverted head and shoulders here. If that breaks up, then we're heading back to the highs on EURUSD and we're heading back to the lows on DX. This is nice. It may well break up. I like this pattern anything better than anything I'm seeing on DX at the moment. USDJPY. Pretty close to Stan's 104 target, no current divergence, testing the weekly pivot. If this, we could have made the low already. If we break and convert the weekly pivot, then the chances of that increase considerably. We have a possible double bottom here. We need to break and convert monthly pivot as well, but on a break and conversion of 108, we'd be looking considerably higher, and the low would probably be in. But we've got trendline resistance, then monthly pivot, then possible double bottom resistance. We shall see how those do. USDCAD. USDCAD went higher, pretty close to a resistance trendline test the last time I looked. Still pretty close, but not quite reached it. Could there be an alternate trendline it has reached? Possibly. We'll see. We're on a 60-minute sell signal. If we find resistance here, then we're going to come back down and break through decent rising support trend line and about the 1.291 area. Until then, this doesn't look that interesting on the short side. Quite a lot of little bits of negative divergence. It's a more interesting short if it actually reaches 130. Australian dollar. Australian dollar. Oh, by the way, if you've got any questions for afterwards, toss them in the chat and I'll answer them at the end. Right, Australian dollar. This is a possible flag forming. It's a possible double bottom, maybe, but it's more likely to be a flag, I think. We'll see how it goes. If it is a flag, then we're going to find resistance at the weekly pivot in all probability, and that may well get tested. On a double bottom basis, this would be a Janus flag, but it's not really a Janus flag when actually it's just a flag channel. So I'm really looking for that for resistance. If it breaks over there, I've got declining resistance in about the, well, a shade over 78, and we'd see how that did. But I think my lean here is that a flag is forming, and we're probably going to see a retest of the low. NZUSD. NZUSD, I quite like a retest of the low there as well. Let's wait for the chart to come up. This looks like a flag forming, and this would appear to need a retest. We've got a pretty decent declining resistance trend line here, and that's crossing the weekly pivot at 72.55. Break above there, and this starts to look interesting on the long side. But I think a break above there would be more interesting if we actually retested the low first and set up a decent looking double bottom. In the interim, this looks like a short-term bear flag forming. This may be a larger bear flag forming. So it'll be more interesting on the long side if we retest the low and then go up. Okay, great. In that case, I think that's a wrap for the recording, and I'm going to stop.